Hi, welcome to Fun February, where I make videos that are fun, just for fun, little shorties. And I was doing a different one. I was gonna do one on books, and I was working on it, and then something happened. And you know how like something happens, and it's like, well, this is like so in my niche of things I like to talk about that I have to talk about that instead. That's where we're at. And the thing I want to talk about is an article, but like I always forget to. Now there's room. There's room in the frame for me to post images from the article. So this is called When 2 Years of Academic Work Vanished with a Single Click. After turning off ChatGPT's data consent option, Marcel Bucher lost the work behind grant applications, teaching materials, and publication drafts. Here's what happened next by Marcel Bucher. So this was posted yesterday in Nature's career column. So Nature, the journal, is of course a very important scientific journal. Oh, I have a Nature right here. Is what are we doing with our lives? I just want to shout out Minneapolis. They're having a boycott today. Like the union men. I'm I'm proud of those guys. I like what they're doing. Anyway, so we'll stay with anti-fascism. We don't need Nature today, but Nature, of course, is a very famous scientific journal. It's very prestigious. You have to pay money to publish there. It's pay to play, but it's also like an award on your little CV that you've published in Nature. The Nature Careers blog it's very much not that. They call it Nature's Career Column, and they describe it. These pieces are written by scientists with editing help from the Nature team and aim to share the author's personal experience and what others might learn from it. And if you go to the list of columns they've published, it's really just like weird career maxing LinkedIn brain rot bullshit stuff. I'm not going to pretend I know what's going on with Nature or Springer, the publisher, but I would say friends don't let friends participate in anything Springer publishes. But it does seem to me, as an observer, that this column is intended to be rage bait. Like it's articles that are designed specifically to like game the algorithm and make you mad so you click on it and read it. And so you might say, Angela, if you know that that's true, if you know that this is intended to be rage bait, why would you waste your precious time on earth discussing this article? And why should you, the viewer, waste your own precious time on earth watching me discuss the article? And like that's a valid critique of this style of video. However, I do think there are two important things that this article does that I think are important to discuss and would love to talk about. But, feel free to click away. You're allowed to do that, of course. So, the two important conversations I think this article is like a jumping off point for is number one, how generative AI is destructive to academia and education and research, and how we shouldn't use it. And the second conversation this article kind of presents a jumping off point for, I feel like is maybe more relevant to my audience, which is that this article is a perfect encapsulation of how consistent daily use of chat boxes destroys your brain. It's just like what happens when you rely on generative AI to do like basic normal tasks you should be able to do by yourself in like 20 seconds, like what this does. Have you ever seen that commercial?
Okay, last time. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
This is your brain on AI, except in scare quotes, because as we all know, AI doesn't exist actually. So this is a blog post in the Nature Career column published by Professor Dr. Marcel Bucher. And he's a professor at the University of Cologne. He works in plant science. He has a very large and productive lab. He's got grad students. He's got postdocs. And this article, if you could call it a blog post, is intended to be one of those like cautionary tale advice articles, which I actually love. It's like those articles that are just like, hi, I got scammed in this very specific way. They use these tactics to get the money from me in this way. I am documenting it, even though it's embarrassing, so that other people don't fall for it. That's a very helpful article. Or those articles that talk about like kind of embarrassing like family things like, It'll be like a guy who's like, I had to have the conversation with my dad about how he wouldn't be allowed to drive the children around anymore, and maybe he shouldn't be driving at all, and it was very difficult, and here's how I did it, and here's how it went. Like, I've never been in that position. I imagine it's very difficult to have that conversation. It's very helpful to have articles that are like, here's how this happened for us. Here's what you can do, right? This blog post is intended to be that type of thing. Like, this thing happened to me. Here's how you can avoid it. This article is the version of the cautionary tale advice article. Okay, let's get into it. Within a couple of years of ChatGPT coming out, I had come to rely on the artificial intelligence tool for my work as a professor of plant sciences at the University of Cologne in Germany. Having signed up for OpenAI's subscription plan, ChatGPT Plus, I used it as an assistant every day to write emails, draft course descriptions, structure grant applications, revise publications, prepare lectures, create exams, and analyze student responses, and even as an interactive tool as part of my teaching. Okay. He says he understands that it's not always correct. It doesn't always give factual information. But he relied on it for the continuity and apparent stability of the workspace. And then we can go on to the meat of the article, which is the cautionary tale part, which I will also read to you. But in August, I temporarily disabled the data consent option because I wanted to see whether I would still have access to all the model's functions if I did not provide OpenAI with my data. At that moment, all of my chats were permanently deleted and the project folders were emptied. 2 years of carefully structured academic work disappeared. No warning appeared. There was no undo option, just a blank page. Fortunately, I had saved partial copies of some conversations and materials, but large parts of my work were lost forever. At first, I thought it was a mistake. I tried different browsers, devices, and networks. I cleared the cache, reinstalled the app, and even changed the settings back and forth. Nothing helped. When I contacted OpenAI's support, the first response came from an AI agent. Only after repeated inquiries did a human employee respond, but the answer remained the same. The data was permanently lost and could not be recovered. So the cautionary tale here is to back up your data. He used an external tool to store all his documents, and then when he clicked delete, it got deleted. So his big advice is back up your data. Which, like, okay, yeah, thanks. Okay, bro, thanks. I do think it's very funny that he's like quite irate that he contacted support and got an AI agent. Oh, you were upset you didn't get a human person? I bet your students were really fucking upset too when they signed up for a course taught by a human expert on a topic only to get an AI agent writing the lectures, creating the homework, grading the assignments, and then they find out that that happened to them from the Nature Careers blog. So I said this article did two things, and the first thing I said it did was show you how generative AI is bad for academia. So this professional academic, a person with a PhD and a professorship, immediately adopts and integrates AI tools into his entire workflow. So he is writing papers, analyzing data, writing lectures, writing grants, grading homework, all with the help of an AI chat box. And he does this for only 2 years. 2 years of his life has he been inside the chat box. And only 2 years later, he is incapable of using his brain in such an extreme way that he willingly volunteers to publish an article that's like, guys, I want to warn you, if you click delete, things get deleted. Every single one of your colleagues is going to read the text of the article that's like, hey, the delete button, it says what it's going to do and it does it. I just, like... He's so upset that he spent all this time working, again in scare quotes, because the chat box was working, wasn't it? All that work is gone, it got deleted, and he's like, watch out. I know you all are also using a chat box every second of every day to do all the work you're pretending to do yourself, right? Be careful, you might delete it all. I just imagine that pre-AI brain rot, this same man from 2 years ago, if he had clicked the delete button, he would not have thought it was a good idea to write an article where he says, guys, watch out. Delete makes delete happen. I think that's the real lesson. Like, this is not a warning that delete causes things to be deleted. The real warning is that if you use AI every single day for 2 years, you will think it's a good idea to publish things like this with your name attached. He really thinks that his misstep was clicking the box without understanding that would delete all his things. He does not think it was a mistake to filter all of his academic work through the machine, the algorithm that is built on stolen academic work. He thinks he's literally having conversations with a chat box. He calls it conversations. He thinks he's conversing as if he doesn't understand what, like, the large language model actually is. There's a time lag here, right? Like, he says this happened to him in August. Months have passed, and it's not like he was like, oh, that was a mistake. It was a mistake to use a chat box to do my work for me and present it as my own. It was a mistake to rely on this tool, this notoriously counter-effective, lying Mr. Compliment Bot tool to run my lab. No. His mistake, which I'm sure he's been conversing about with his chat box for the last 4 months, was clicking the button. And now he has to warn everyone, don't click the delete button. It's going to delete things. Like, this man is just a man. He's not an evil billionaire. I don't know him from Adam. It's not cool for me to read every sentence of this article and roast this man, but also he published this willingly. He thought this was a good idea. He was like, everybody is using a chat box for every single piece of text they ever have to write in their career, right? I just want to warn all of us, because we're all doing this. If you click delete, all your conversations will go away and it's like you never did anything at all. It's just like, holy shit. I don't want to roast him, but also I could not roast him more than he has roasted himself. Like, if I did the things he publicly admits that he had done, that would go to my grave. Like, you would have to subpoena that information out of me in the discovery period of some lawsuit. Like, he admits this willingly. But if I did know this man personally, if perhaps I was a collaborator or a coworker, this would be a 5-alarm fire. Like, I think I talked about this in one of my videos, the spider video, where she wakes up and she realizes that all of her papers for the last few years have been made with fake data. Like, imagine waking up, just tootling to your little office, opening Nature and being like, oh, my colleague who I've published many papers with wrote something interesting, and then finding out everything he's done. He did data analysis with chatgpt. Like, you're gonna have to retract the papers. Like, you can't publish with this guy. You can't even trust him to write his own things. Like, if you are a grad student or a postdoc in this lab, yikes, get out of there, or at least start forming relationships with other labs so you can get a second recommendation letter. Oh my God, if you took a class with this guy in the last 2 years, like, if you were unhappy with the grade, it's the perfect time to file a dispute, because he just publicly admitted that he wasn't reading your homework assignments or writing them. He filtered them through ChatGPT. Did he ask his students if they were comfortable with him giving their work that they did to the plagiarism bot, or did he just do that? Like, this is crazy. What the fuck? I did say I would leave him out of it, so I'm going to try to. But also, oof. Education. It's a thing I'm very passionate about. It's a very humanity based thing, right? Like, if you've never had this experience, when you're teaching a university course, especially a science course, like, you'll see 100 faces. Science courses are not like conversational. Like, you are usually giving a lecture and like delivering information, and you don't like hear the students' opinions or thoughts on this information, right? Science courses are very lecture heavy, but that's also why they're very homework heavy. You create assignments using your brain based on the lectures you have written, again, using your brain. And those assignments are tailored to get an idea on how well the students are getting the information from the lectures. You give homework to test the students' understanding, but also to ensure that the lectures you're giving are good, to make sure that you are conveying information in a way that the students understand. Because, like, different classes will have different experiences, and one lecture might work really well for one group of students and it won't work for another group of students, and you have to be continually updating your information. Otherwise, you're a really bad teacher. So homework is something you spend your time and your eyeballs looking at, like reading what the students have written to make sure they understand what you're saying, to evaluate how you're doing, right? You ask your TAs, like, hey, what kind of questions are coming up during recitation? Like, is there anything I should like redo or anything I should go over again? Like the homework you assign and get back is a form of feedback for you, the professor, the educator. What you don't do is ask Dr. Flattery, the compliment bot, how your lecture is looking, and then ask that compliment bot to create a homework assignment, and then have the compliment bot grade the homework assignment without you ever putting your eyes on any of that, and then publicly acknowledge that that's how you teach your courses, where every one of your colleagues and also former students can read it. This is insane. I can't believe this was published. I can't believe someone would admit to using this tool, derogatory in this way. Like, homework is not a thing you assign so you can check off on your agenda that you assigned homework and you're fulfilling your role as professor. Like, the homework is to inform your teaching so you can do a better job teaching the material. And when you release all of that to a chat box, it's like you don't even care about doing your job. It's like you don't understand the point of teaching a course. It's like you have lost your humanity. You have lost the social contract, which is that you are educating human beings on a topic that they have voluntarily, willingly wanted to show up to learn about. And you are kind of stealing that from them and giving it to the chat box who tells you you're doing a great job. I just, this is just evidence of the LinkedInification of academia, where the boss babes and bros are like research maxing their output with AI tools. And if you give them $444, they'll tell you how to do it too. Everyone's writing AI garbage papers to be reviewed with AI garbage tools, and everyone can have maximum output while accomplishing nothing. It's truly a nightmare. This is a self-published document, which brings me to part 2 of why I think this is an important discussion to have. This is what you sound like when you use chat boxes all day. You do things like this. There are all these articles going around, all these studies coming out about how chat boxes make you stupid. They use very fancy words like cognitive debt and things to try to explain the phenomena, but this chat box is making you stupid is obvious if you know anything about education. I have this video where I talk about how to teach yourself physics, and in it, I spend a lot of time talking about how to solve a homework problem. You cannot watch someone solve a problem and then be like, cool, now I know how to do that. Now I know how to solve that physics problem. That's not how it works, because some people are really good at teaching and they can convince you that now you know how to do the thing because you just watched an expert do it, right? You cannot watch someone do homework on the board and then be like, cool, great, got it, because you will fail the exam. The only way you learn the material is by doing it yourself, using your own brain and building that muscle of solving the physics problem. And of course, you can test it yourself. Like, find a Khan Academy video about a topic you're unfamiliar with, like economics or chemistry or whatever. Watch him solve a problem. That guy's a really good teacher. He's really good at explaining things. He's really clear writing it out. He's great. So write down the problem, watch him solve it, write down the answer, and then pull out that piece of paper in 4 weeks and try to solve the problem. You won't be able to do it, because the only way to learn how to solve problems is to do it yourself. You have to use your brain to build the muscle to learn the material. You cannot outsource learning or research. That's not how this works. Chat boxes it's like outsourcing your brain on steroids, right? Like, imagine you have to write a Python script, so you pull up your chat box and you're like, please write this Python script with words that you're saying, and you iterate and it eventually produces something that's usable, and you're like, great, I just wrote a Python script. I understand Python. But you didn't. It made you feel like you did. It was a conversation, so you felt like you were involved, but you didn't do anything. And if you keep doing that, it's going to be 2 years later. Someone's going to ask you to do like a whiteboard code problem. You're going to get a sinking pit like just like that sinking, disgusting, vomity feeling in your stomach, you're gonna realize, oh my God, I haven't written code in 2 years. I don't understand Python anymore. Holy shit. I've been using a chat box to write code for 2 years. I can't write code anymore. You have lost the skill. It's obvious that that's what will happen, right? Except it's not obvious because 2 years later you publish publicly that, guys, the delete button is sure to be deleting. Be careful out there, guys. But I think Python is an interesting example because, not everybody needs to know how to write code. That's not a skill everyone needs to have. If you need to write code once every 11 months and you use your chat box to do it, like, fine. Whatever. You don't need to know how to do that. That's not in your job description. That's not what you are. You're not a coder. Fine. But what happens when you use the chat box to write your emails, or write your exam question, or write the introduction to the grant application where you proclaim to be an expert who's going to definitely be doing research and definitely not just outsourcing that to a chat box? Sure. What happens then? What happens 2 years after that? The chat box will do it. You'll iterate. You'll iterate on the email and it will take you 17 minutes to send the email that would have taken you 30 seconds to write. Of course, it will do it. But then eventually, you will be using it every single time you have to write an email. And then 2 years later, you will find yourself unable to write an email, unable to form the words without first consulting the chat box. 2 years later, you will think it's totally normal to publish something like this. You will think it's really important to be like, guys, I know we're all using chat boxes every single day for every single part of our job, but like, be careful. If you press delete, it gets deleted. Watch out. This is crazy. Like, that's what you sound like. You didn't notice your brain atrophying. You didn't notice that you're incapable of doing anything without the help of a chat box. You think it's totally normal to publish things like this, but everyone else noticed. Everyone else has seen your mental decline. Everyone else is annoyed. They have to read the fucking paragraph-long emails you send that you've punched up with ChatGPT. Have you ever been in one of those water cooler conversations where like someone's like, I can't believe people are paying for this ChatGPT thing, and then someone else is like, I almost want to pay for it so I can stop having to parse these garbage emails they're sending me. Like, why am I supposed to read an email you didn't even write? And then someone else will be like, have you seen that like a fourth person was convinced to commit suicide because of these things? And then fucking Tyler walks up and he's like, I actually think it's really helpful. I use it every day, all the time. And it's like, we know, Tyler. We know that you use it. We've seen the decline in your work. We've seen the garbage text you send that's obviously been massaged and thesaurused with ChatGPT. Oh, we know you use it. Everybody can tell. Everybody can tell that you use it, Tyler. Have you ever asked Tyler what they use it for? Because it's so bonkers. Like, they will be serious. They will look you in the face and they'll be like, I spend $1,800 a year on ChatGPT, and like sometimes I'll have a big task and I'll say, hey, how do I start this big task? And ChatGPT breaks it up into smaller tasks that I can do. I have it format my Python scripts. I have it read and summarize the emails from HR, and I pay $1,800 a year for this. Those are all things that you need to use your brain for. Those are all skills that you need to maintain throughout. Maybe not Python. Not everybody needs to write Python, that's fine. But like, breaking a big task into small tasks is a skill that you should have. And if you don't have it, you certainly shouldn't be outsourcing. And if you can't, like, if you seriously can't sit down and break a big task into small tasks without asking a chat box for help, that's like a medical issue. Have you seen these people? Like, you're in a meeting spitballing something at a whiteboard and they pull out their phone to ask ChatGPT, and it's like, bro, we are all subject matter experts. What do you think Dr. Flattery, the always wrong bot, is going to add to this conversation? Like, now we just don't want to include you in this conversation. You have to use your own brain. Like, do you wake up and ask the chat box what pants to wear? Like, you cannot outsource every decision or question or activity that you have to use your brain for to a chat box. I don't understand. I just imagine publishing that, hey guys, watch out for that delete button. It deletes stuff. That's what you sound like. This is what 2 years of ChatGPT does to your brain. That's like the cautionary tale of the article. So